I guess it can happen to anybody. I just watched that movie, Tinder Swindler. And trust me, there's some things we can all learn from that story. Stay tuned. Now, spoiler alert, I'm going to try not to tell too much of this story in case you haven't seen it, but quickly, there were two women that were interviewed who were victims of the same Tinder swindler who was pretending to be part of a diamond family. And he was going around flying women around in these jets and putting them up and staying in these 5-star hotels and picking them up in Rolls Royces, yada, yada, yada. Now, of the two girls, one slept with him the first night and the other one never slept with him but became a friend. Well, long story short, by the time they tell the whole story, they intertwine their two lives to show that when this guy was missing in action in one girl's life, he was busy in action in some other girl's life, and how he used these women to one woman was like $250,000 in debt after this guy, and the other woman was $30,000 plus in debt, and it's all because they were believing this narcissistic fool. Now, in the story of woman number one, I don't remember her name, she clearly was talking about the fact that she had all these dreams since a little girl about Disney. And she has these dreams of a fairy tale relationship. She said everything except the old adage of having a knight in shining armor. And as she related her story of how she met him for coffee, and during the coffee, he asked her to join him going to Belarus or somewhere he had to fly to. And he sent her home in a Rolls Royce to pack her bags. She packed her bags and came back and jumped on the jet. And just the whole story, she's still stuck in Disney mode, talking about how she saw him as this fairy tale person that she's held in her heart since childhood, and she was clearly relating in the whole story the warning signs. Now, understand me, I'm not saying she deserved what she got. I'm just saying that there were a couple of places where she could have made a better decision. First of all, she meets this guy. She's on her way back to go pack her bags and fly out with him on a private jet. And she texts her girlfriend, and her girlfriends tell her, whoa, wait a minute, slow it down. Send me a picture. Who is this guy? This is dangerous. And she did not listen. The other thing is when she noticed that this guy was on his phone all the time. Phone was just going on. The way she described it, his phone was just going off. And he kept answering these phone calls, and she believed it was business. Well, long story short, then you get this sob story. Oh, they're after me. They're trying to kill me. And I can't use my credit cards because if I do, they'll be able to trace me. They. Who is they? Well, by this time, she's so caught up in Disney mode and painting him as the big prince that she can see nothing else. And he did just enough to drag her along. Before the whole thing crumbled, he had her out, asked her to live with him, and had her out looking at apartments and everything. Well, this guy had no intention. Again, when they juxtaposed the two different women that were interviewed in this story, one story picked up where hers left off. So those times where he was missing in action, then this other girl's story picks up where he was just a friend, but he had his girlfriend, which was not person number one in the interview thing. And they were flying here and flying there and doing this and doing that. Now, the Disneyland person who was person number one in the interview thing, she's overlooking all of these warning signs. She's paying attention to nothing but her perception and the way she's built this guy up to be the perfect man for her. She's going into debt up to $250,000, trying to keep him out of trouble. Well, he said, okay, so I'm going to give you your money back. Well, that's what you get all the time. I'm going to give you your money back. And I'm going to give you your money back. And then he shows a transfer going to the bank, and it never gets there. He said, well, meet me here in some other foreign country, and I will write you, I will write you a check. She gets there. Things are completely different. He's very cold. It's not the same between them. And, the check is written in there. So she takes the check back. She deposits it. A week later, it's not deposited. So she goes to she calls the bank, and they say, we're not going to deposit that check. And they refuse to tell her why. Well, clearly this guy's getting caught in his own crap, and she's $250,000 in debt and can't pay that back right now. This woman was so distraught, she thought about killing herself. This is pitiful, and it happens to so many of us. Look, let me tell you a couple of things. You go to this video here and see what I tell you about how to spot the warning signs before you put your heart into a relationship. This guy was glaring warning signs in this, but I just want to summarize the whole Tinder Swindler thing with this. Don't move so fast. If you get a match on Tinder or any other dating app, take your time. Do not put your heart into this until you can check it out. Now, this girl did due diligence. She did a Google on what he said his name was. But you could quickly do a reverse image search on his image, and you will pull back everything out there on this guy's face, and it would tell you all the different names he was going by. So you want to not only do that, but you want to listen to your truthful, trusted others. You can see about truthful, trusted others in the book, Whose Apple Is It Anyway? But she had truthful, trusted others that she just threw to the wind because she just had this Disney thing going on in her head, and she believed that that's what romance was. Those are two crossroads. And look, now, so this the other thing. So at some point when she went there to pick up the check, his phone again ringing off the hook, yada, yada, yada. Oh, but this time, conveniently, he decides to put it on speakerphone. And his so-called bodyguard was on there talking about, we gotta move right now. They found you, yada, yada, yada. So he sends her home, and he jumps up and acts like he's running for his life. Please. Okay, I've never seen you put somebody on speakerphone before, and every time we're together, your phone is just blowing up. So this was obviously a setup. I'm just going to give her this bad check, in case you didn't figure that out, and get her out of here because I got somebody else on the string over here that I'm going to finagle money out of. This guy's whole life was luxury life, was centered around ripping women off. Okay. You look through his Tinder profile and you see him on jet planes and eating at fancy restaurants, yada, yada, yada. Come on. He even superimposed his image on with this diamond family that sells diamonds and mines diamonds. He even juxtaposed his picture over theirs. It made it look like, oh yeah, I'm part of this family. I don't really think so. Okay? So anyway, long story short, I don't think that we should ever blame the victim. I think that anybody could fall for this, but I am referring you to this to this video, and I'll put the link to the book below that will help you to know the warning signs. The lady who wrote Sex in the City, the TV program, she went through a similar situation, and I use her situation as an example in that as well. I'm Dr. Linda F. Williams, and always remember your greatest power is realizing the truth of who you are. Be sure to know that truth. Hey, if you like what you see here today, please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so that you know when we upload, and like and share the video. Thanks.